Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back or welcome to Radical Disruption, whatever it might be. I'm so glad and so honored that you are here. I am on the struggle bus today with recording podcast episodes. I have 4 episodes that I am recording today to batch out for the holiday season, and I cannot find the right words to say. And not even like the right words, but I am really struggling with English. I have restarted this recording now 7 times, maybe 9 times actually. If we're with full transparency, probably actually, I think this is recording number 10. I'm looking at it on the screen right now. So embarrassing. And I only get like 60 seconds in and then I just like restart because I'm like, I don't even know what I'm saying. This is not even legible. Legible is not the right word either because I think legible is if you're writing something. This is not, you can't even understand it. Okay. Anyways, with all that being said, let's dive into this episode and see if I can get through it. So this is part 3 of 4, pulling back the curtain on this year, 2024, and all the things that have been going on. And if you haven't listened to part 1 and part 2, which are the last 2 episodes, I highly recommend it. It's going to give you some good context as to all the behind the scenes of this year. Now, this episode, though, came about because every time I see friends in person, whether I'm going out to lunch or I'm on a walk and I see a friend, or even just in my direct messages, people are asking me questions all the time. How is motherhood and running a business? How have things changed? What are you doing different? How and why and what? And all the things to do with being a mompreneur. And so I've been a mom now for a year. Remy just turned 1 a few weeks ago, which is freaking wild. Time goes way too fast. But I wanted to share a recap of this past year and how it has impacted my business and how I'm changing things up, because I think that my transition from not being a mom and being an entrepreneur to then being an entrepreneur and mom is unique. Not unique in the sense that no one goes through that transition. Obviously, I know a lot of people go through not being a mom to then being a mom, but I don't know a lot of people who are entrepreneurs and not a mom to then becoming an entrepreneur and a mom. And I was really scared about that transition because it wasn't talked about enough. And I was so scared about what it would do for my business. And I just have to say, to just start off this episode, that it's going to exponentially impact your business in all of the best ways. Being a mompreneur is the best. So don't let it scare you. I'm going to share 8 different things that I've learned from my journey, starting off with the very first one, which is simplicity with my offers. So to give you some context with my business and my journey with offer creation and hosting live offers and not live offers and all of that good stuff. So when I very first started my business, which was August of 2021, that very first year, so from August 21 to August 22, I created 2 offers. I created a course and I created a membership, and that was great. It was working really well for me. I scaled to 40K months doing that with just those 2 offers. And then I hired a business coach right around, I think it was like September of 2022. And she was teaching a live program at the time of when I hired her. And so I went through that live program, and I, as a student, loved the aspect of having the trainings be live. But I had never done that myself. I had never taught live. And she was like, you should try it out. And I was like, I'm not sure about diving into a program, which for definition's sake, I consider a program a live offer that is taught over several weeks. And so it is quite the commitment because it's not just like a one and done type of thing. And so I decided to dip my toes into teaching masterclasses live. And I think my first masterclass I taught live was in September of 2022. Maybe might have been October, but right around that time was when I very first taught my first live masterclass. And I fell in love with it. I just was thriving. I love teaching live. I love everything about the live element of it. And so I went on to create, I think, 2 more masterclasses after that. Then I created a program, and so between August of 2022 to August of 2023, I had created, I want to say like 15 new offers, which is a lot. So a lot of offer growth in my business. and I was thriving. I loved it. I was eating it up. My community was eating it up. It was truly the best. But in, let's see, when was it? February of 23, I found out that I was pregnant. And I was like, okay, well, scourge. We got to figure things out here. Things are going to change when I have a baby, but I wasn't exactly sure what that was going to look like. And I don't think anyone really does. People can tell you what to expect, but especially as an entrepreneur, it's going to look so different for every single person. Because I know some entrepreneurs who have kids and they go on maternity leave, but then they just go back to how their business was before. And for me, that is not the case. Not because the way that my business had been built wasn't sustainable, but it was just internally things changed for me when I had a kid. And I'll talk more about that in just a second, but that's a little bit of context there for my offer creation journey. And so I had lots of offers that I was selling. And it wasn't until January, I think it was January, maybe beginning of February of this year, so 2024, a few months after having Remy, I think that's 4 months after having her, I just sat down with myself and I was like, something needs to change for the sake of my brain. I just needed simplicity. And I didn't want offers that took up so much of my lifetime because I just wanted to be a mom more. And I wanted to have a business that really fit well into the nooks and crannies of my life when I'm up at 2 a.m. with a baby. And hosting a live masterclass, you can't just host a live masterclass whenever you want to host a live masterclass. Like, you can't just do that at 2 a.m. with a baby. But chat support, I can respond to messages at 2 a.m. I can post content at 2 a.m. I was really craving a business that did fit better into the nooks and crannies of my life, where I could still work and I could still honestly work the same amount of time, but it fit better with the random wild schedule of having a baby. And so those were like the two things where I was like, hey, I want the simplicity and I want something that fits into the nooks and crannies of my life. And so I sat down with myself and I pulled up Canva, and inside of Canva, I don't remember actually what it's called. Maybe it's called like a whiteboard or a workspace or something, but there's like a I don't know. You can go into Canva and you can create a cool whiteboard. And so I pulled it up on my desktop, my big desktop, and I started to write down all my offers and the amount of money that I made from all my offers and get really nitty gritty into the data. And ultimately, to sum things up, to not bore you with all of that, the biggest thing that I really focused on to create simplicity with my offers is the 80-20 rule. So this is called Pareto's principle. I love it. It applies to basically, in my opinion, it applies to anything in life or in business. But basically it states that 80% of the results come from 20% of your actions. And so what I was looking at is what 20% of my offers, out of all the offers that I've created, are bringing in 80% of my income, so I could focus more heavily on those and not get rid of the other offers that I had created, but more strategically utilize them in an automated way to really simplify my offer suite so that my brain had more simplicity. Because in my brain, and it's so funny too, because if you had told me this before having a kid, I can't relate. I don't even understand what you're talking about. There's no way that's the case. Before having a kid, everything made sense to me. And it was all very simple in my brain and all my offers and everything. And then having a kid, it just changed everything in my brain. I was like, no, I need things to be more simple. It's probably because when you have a kid, there's just so many new things that you're learning and having to navigate, and so many different schedules and all sorts of different things. My brain is just, I need simplicity right now in this season of my life. And so one of the things that I ended up doing is focusing more on IG University. And so this is a small shift, but a really big one, honestly, on the back end of my business, focusing on IG University more and also selling my programs more, because those are my top income producing offers. And so this is why in 2024, I spent several months updating IG University, even shutting it down for a few months and then increasing the price and just making the membership overall 10 times better than it was before, because I have a heavier focus on building up that offer, because it's part of the 80-20, right? It's part of the 20% of my offers that are bringing in majority of my income. So that was one thing that I did with the simplicity of my offers. The other thing was figuring out where I wanted to place those other offers that were the 80% of my offers that were only bringing in the 20% of my income, because they're amazing offers. They're amazing, so valuable, transformational. So I didn't want to just get rid of them and throw them in the closet and be like, okay, see ya. See ya maybe in the future. I don't know, in a different season of life. I didn't want to get rid of them. And so I narrowed down my offers that I would actively sell on the front end of my business. And then I decided that I wanted to strategically utilize the other offers. So the ones that I wasn't actively selling on the front end of my business, strategically utilizing the other ones as order bumps, as bonuses in other offers and in bundles of offers. So still utilizing them, but utilizing them in other places where I didn't have to be thinking about them all the time, if that makes sense. So that was the very first thing that I guess being a mom in the last year has brought, is simplicity with my offers. And this is just the start. My goal next year, so in 2025, would be to have 4 main offers. So one of them would be IG University, which is all about Instagram growth. One of them is like a sales and messaging program. One of them is offer creation program. And then one of them is a scaling program. So scalability is already there, which is great. And then I already have IG University. And then the online blueprint is my offer creation. The online blueprint is going to get an update in 2025. So that's in Q1. That's one of my goals, is to update the online blueprint and then to create my last, I don't want to say signature offer, but like the last offer in my offer suite that kind of would complete my offer suite would be my sales and messaging program. So that's something else I have in the works for Q1, probably realistically Q2 of 2025. And then from there, having those 4 offers as like my core offers. And if I want to do like a masterclass or something along those lines, I can. But just in the season of life, I'm just looking for simplicity. So just probably sticking with those 4 and then utilizing all these other offers that I've created over the last few years as those bonuses, as those order bumps, as bundles and all sorts of different things, right? And so that is I would say the fun part of having lots of different offers is it opens up a lot of different automation opportunities. It opens up a lot of different ways for you to increase your average order value. So that's definitely something, looking back, I'm not sad about that I created all these offers. I'm actually really, really grateful that I did that, because I have so many opportunities now with different offers, bundles of offers, and again, like upsells and downsells and so many different things that a lot of people don't have because they don't have they don't have as many offers to play around with. Hopefully that makes sense. Anyways, okay, moving on to the next one, less calls. So this applies well with the simplicity of my offers. But same thing, what I was saying before, I just wanted to have more offers that fit into the nooks and crannies of my life where I'm not taking away value from those offers, but more so shifting logistics so that I can continue to show up and give support, but that it's not taking up, like it's not scheduled on my calendar. And so, for example, I don't do any calls with my one-on-one packages. I host a lot less live offers. I don't think I hosted any live offers in 2024. No, I did not host any live offers in 2024. I hosted live chat support in certain offers and during certain time frames. I had one offer where I offered it for 3 days. I had another offer where I offered it for 6 weeks. And then I obviously, in my one-on-one coaching packages, you can get live chat support as well. So again, it's that shifting of logistics. But just right now, it gives me anxiety to see calls on my calendar. The main reason, which is not the case anymore because I'm not breastfeeding, but when I was breastfeeding, it gave me a lot of anxiety because I had to try and figure out like my feeding schedule based off of when I was on calls and when I wasn't on calls. And I wasn't even on that many calls, but that is one of the biggest reasons why I decided to take on less calls. So right now I'm taking on about 3 calls a month total, and majority of those calls are guest podcast episodes for Radical Disruption. So that's another thing. And I just want to reiterate here that this might not be the case for every single person who is diving into motherhood, or this is just the way that I have shifted things on my end, and it's just given me a lot of more spaciousness and it's created a lot less anxiety for me when it comes to looking at my calendar and still being able to give support though to every single person who joins into my offers, which I'm all about, right? It's not just about making it work for me, but I also, of course, want to continue to provide value for people who are inside my offers. All right, that leads me to number 3, which is protecting my peace of mind. So this is, I wouldn't say this is necessarily something that is like a huge thing that has affected my business by any means, but I've just realized as a mom, I have to protect my peace of mind more, because what I was struggling with when I first stepped into motherhood is I would sit down for work, whether that was 1 hour, whether that was 2 hours, whether that was 30 minutes, whatever it was. I would sit down for work and I would have struggles come up. Not all the time, but sometimes. And then I would take those struggles with me when I went back to spending time with my family. And like, my family doesn't deserve that. And so I needed to figure out a way to better separate myself from business. So tighter boundaries with work hours, tighter boundaries just with the crap that I put up in general, blocking lots more people on Instagram, reducing the time spent on Instagram because that's helped me with comparison, and just anything to protect my peace of mind, knowing that that's going to help me to be a more present mom and to be a more present wife, which my family deserves, right? And also, I deserve that as an individual as well. And I think that that's an ongoing thing. I don't think that that's something that motherhood just randomly sparked inside of me. That's definitely something that I have always tried to at least focus on, but I have definitely really struggled with that, of like the separation of work life and business. Work life? Yeah, work life and like just life. What am I trying to say? Business life and life? Work life and life? I don't know. You get what I'm saying. Just that separation of the two is really hard when you're an entrepreneur. And so for me, just trying to figure out better ways to separate the two, because I want to be present in both of those roles, but I don't want to be present in both of those roles at the same time. Number 4 is really thinking more of long-term decisions. And so when I had Remy, and the first few months were a lot of maternity leave and then transitioning back into business. But when I fully got back into my work schedule, which I would say was around 3.5 to 4 months, is when I fully got back into work. I just started to think about my next kid or the next kid after that. How can I build a business where I'm not having to make so many changes? Not because, again, things are not sustainable, but just knowing now what I know about being a mom and the way that I want to show up as a mom and the way I want my business to support my life, which again is going to be so different for every single person. But now that I know, I'm like, okay, how can I prepare for that moving forward? So a lot of that is focused on recurring revenue, which is why IG University is one of my focuses in terms of marketing my offers. And then also to, for example, I am a part of an affiliate program for Kajabi, which is what I use to host my courses and to sell my offers and all of that. I'll link the link down in the show notes. If you want to check it out, you can get a 30-day free trial and a few free bonus offers. But it's really, really awesome. And because of that affiliate link and because I'm part of that affiliate program, I'm building recurring revenue through that. And so my goal with Kajabi affiliate revenue is to build that to $5,000 a month next year. And so what even is that? 5 times 12 is like what, 60,000 or something along those lines. And so that would be a great additional recurring revenue that's really hands off once I actually get people inside, of course, like utilizing that affiliate link. And so focused a lot more on that recurring revenue. And again, this isn't to say that I never focused on recurring revenue. Recurring revenue is always something that I focused on, but I'm like hyper focused on recurring revenue. Like, for example, it's the month of November and not all of them, but like 3 of my sales that I've ran for Black Friday or will run for Black Friday are focused around building recurring revenue. It's just that stability and just knowing, I just hit my mic and knowing that like when I look forward, 5-6 months from now, I know how much money I'm going to make on a base level. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would love to build my recurring revenue, just my recurring revenue alone, not from one-time purchases, just recurring revenue to $50,000 a month next year. So in 2025, that's my big goal. Sorry, I am really struggling to speak. Okay, number 5 ads. So this has been quite the journey. Running ads has been quite the journey for me. So I started running ads myself with the help of Successful Ads Club, which is a membership. I'll also link that down in the show notes. And there was a guest, Tara, who came on, I don't know, several episodes back, who talked about it. And she is the founder of Successful Ads Club. She's amazing, amazing, amazing. And I've actually met her in person. Highly, highly, highly recommend Successful Ads Club. So I started running my ads with the help of what I was learning inside of Successful Ads Club. And it was going well. I wasn't spending tens of thousands of dollars by any means, and I was just getting started, but it was going well. And I got to the point though where I was like, okay, I'm going to hire an agency to run my ads, which crashed and burned. I lost $10,000 having that happen, which was like, I think that was like a month after, if we're looking for timeline here, that was a month after my last episode's timelines. The last episode where I talked about I hit rock bottom, this was a month after is when I hired this ads agency, and then over 3 months I lost $10,000. So lots of money has been lost this year, and I ended up firing that agency because obviously it was not going well. So now I'm back to running my own ads, and it's been just over a week of doing my own ads. I'm going to dive back into Successful Ads Club because it's so amazing if you're running ads. Cannot recommend that enough. But I don't really have much to report on running ads. I've lost a lot of money doing it because of the agency, and now because I've only been at it for a week, I don't really have much to report on. So I'll share more about that in a future episode once I've found my groove and I have some tips for you and some takeaways, all that good stuff. But right now, I have a very bittersweet relationship with ads. And by bittersweet, more so bitter than sweet, for sure. Okay, number 6. Oh, wait, I should go back to ads. Why did I want to start running ads, and how does that have to do with being a mompreneur? Okay, I forgot to leave out. I left out, and I forgot to include the context on that one. So with building a business, one of the most important pieces, not the most important, there's a lot of important pieces, but one of the most important pieces is visibility. You cannot have a successful business if you don't have visibility. It doesn't matter how amazing your offers are, your products are. It doesn't matter how amazing you are not visible. If your business is not visible, you will not succeed. And so there are really 2 ways to go about doing this, right? You have organic visibility and you have paid visibility. And I've built my business very successfully with organic visibility. I built my business to $2 million, fully organic, never paying for ads. And when I became a mom, I was like, okay, how can I use the money that I've made, more of the money that I've made, to buy back my time, right? Because really, as a business owner, you have 2 ways to pay for something. You can pay for it with time, and you can pay for it with money. And so with organic, it's amazing, especially if you're getting started and you don't have a lot of capital to be putting into your business, because you can just pay for it with time, right? And so that's with content creation and engaging and all that good stuff, which is so powerful, so successful. You can obviously build a thriving business with that, right? But there is so much power in pairing paid with organic. And so I wanted to free up a little bit more of my time when it comes to marketing, and especially because I have offers that are proven offers. I've had just an IG University alone, I can't remember the exact number, but it's like 2,700 people I think have gone through IG University. I have thousands of testimonials. And so that's a proven offer. So that's a really good one for me to run paid ads to, right? And so that was my thought process with ads, is freeing up a little bit more time when it comes to marketing, but still being able to build my business. So not replacing organic by any means, still doing organic, but my hope would be, and this is not the case as of right now, but my hope would be in the future to do a little bit less organic. And by a little bit less, I'm talking posting 3 to 4 times a week on social media and 4 or 5 times on Instagram stories versus posting every single day on both. You know what I'm saying? And then having paid ads make up the difference there. Again, that just hasn't happened for me. I can't speak to paid ads because it has been quite the journey. But organic, I can speak to you. So if you need help with that, reach out to me because I got you on that one. Okay, now number 6. This one's actually really interesting, and I'll just share it. So I found myself pursuing someone else's version of success that's a mom. This person was speaking on stages and flying places for work and just mega massive successful. And I still look up to this person a lot. I love what it is that they're doing. I think they're fantabulous, but it's not my version of success. But I found myself pursuing that because I think it was because I didn't know how to navigate this new stage and new season of my life. And so instead of looking inward at myself and asking myself, what is it that I want out of this stage and season of life, I found myself looking outward, outside of myself, looking at other people for what to do and like what looks like success, which I think is so funny because I literally have an episode. I mean, it was quite some time ago now, but it was talking about defining what success looks like to you. And I've always known, but for whatever reason, moving into this season of being a mom, it just got thrown off. And I was like, I don't even know what success looks like in this chaotic season of my life. And so I found myself looking elsewhere, and to the point where I was getting speaking gigs. I was pitching myself. I was saying yes to speaking gigs. And it wasn't until the third time doing it in a month where I spoke on stage where I was like, wait a second, this is not what I want, because I hated leaving my baby behind. I hated prepping for speaking on stages. I did not like it at all, especially though, leaving my baby. And so it was just like that realization of like, wait a second, this is not what I want. And sometimes we do have to walk down that whatever path that we're going down to realize that that's not the path that we want to walk down. But I think for me, if I just stopped and asked myself at any stage, at any point in that journey, and said, hey, but what does success look like to you? Like, how do you want to be a mom? How do you want to be a mom and run a business? I know that I would have found the answer, but I just wasn't asking that question. I was just looking outside of myself and being like, oh, well, this person is successful. They're a mom. So I should also do what they're doing, right? And again, they are successful. They are amazing. And that is their version of success, or at least I hope it is their version of success. And I hope that they're not pursuing someone else's version. But just really asking myself, what does it look like? And I think this is a question you have to ask yourself during multiple seasons, because my version of success before I became a mom is so vastly different than what my version of success is now as a mom. And that's okay. That is a-okay. Number 7. We're almost done here. We got 7 and 8. Number 7 is that momentum doesn't happen, it's created. And it's harder to create momentum than to maintain it. I don't have a lot of lessons to pull from on this one. I'll share one that I guess could be a lesson, but I lost a lot of momentum, not really at all because of having a kid and being a mom, but because of just everything that has gone on this year. I had to take a step back from my mental health. I had to take a step back to be a good mom. And looking back, I think something that would have helped me at least a little bit to continue to maintain momentum was prepped for a little bit longer for maternity leave. So instead of just like 1 to 2 months of maternity leave, like giving myself a little bit more of a runway into having to get back to like fully running a business, I think that would have helped me to maintain a little bit more maintain momentum for a little bit longer, just because actually, I don't even really know why. Just looking back, I just feel like that's the only answer that I really have in terms of maintaining momentum. I guess my other answer would just be like, life happens and sometimes crap just happens. I guess that's my other lesson. Okay, number 8. Lastly, different seasons call you into different levels. And this is my most favorite lesson. And I mean, if you take nothing else away, just let it be this. So I would be lying if I said that everything in business was the same for me as it was before having a kid. It's not. It's not. This is a different season for me, and it's calling me into a different level. And this level that it's calling me into in business is actually the hardest level that I've ever had to go through yet. And that level is being okay with where I am right now in business. No scaling, just maintaining, but also in a way preparing to catapult forward, but in a different way that I have before. A more slow paced way. And as a high achiever type A Manny Gen, this has been really hard to do. But I also know that the lessons that I'm learning now are preparing me for the future. And I also know that this is just a season and it's not forever. And I'm just trying to soak it in as much as I can because I know I'll look back and only wish that I had more time with my baby. And I'll have other seasons when I'm able to scale more and put more time in and create more offers and teach live again. And I know that I will get back to that place and I'll want to do those things again because I loved doing them. But in this season right now, my word of the year for 2024 is simple. And I just think that that's such a good way to leave this episode is like, you don't always have to be doing more and more and more and more to be successful. You don't always have to be scaling more. Your business doesn't always have to be growing at 10x per month. You don't always have to be creating a new offer to be successful. Sometimes simple and just like maintaining and even preparing for whatever is that next season is what you're being called to do. And that is so powerful. So I hope that this was helpful. Again, these are just lessons that I've learned. Your lessons might be different, but I hope that you took something helpful away from this episode. And I'm so grateful that you are here. And I hope that you tune into part 4 of 4, which is the next episode and also the last episode of me pulling back the curtain on what has been happening in 2024.